Hey guys, this is Computer Techie, and today I'm going to show you a short review of FL Studio 9. So, here's what it should look like whenever you open up. As you can see, I have the demo version. This is the free version that they have of FL Studio. Just click continue. So, whenever I first opened up FL Studio, I was thinking, how am I going to make music with this thing? This looks really complex. How am I going to do anything? First, you go up to Tools and select Riff Machine. Now, sometimes it makes up its own song. You can just close out of that, and then all the notes disappear. As you can see, there's a little yellow marker that's moving, and that's how it plays the notes. So you can stop that by just pressing the stop button. Up here, it reads your measure, the note in the measure, and I think that's the milliseconds that the note plays on. You can move the marker to any note that you want to by clicking on it or clicking on this bar right here. You can just press the play button and then the stop button. You can determine how fast your tempo is by clicking on it right here. So if you click on it once and then drag down, it will make your tempo small or slower. But if you click on it again and drag up, it makes your tempo faster. It can go up to 999 beats per minute, which is really fast, but it usually sets it as 140 beats per minute, and that's usually how I like it. I can reduce it if I want to. Up here, you have the draw tool, where you can just draw in a note on your grid. There is the paint tool, where instead of drawing each one individually, you can just paint it across. Then there's also the delete option, so if you want to remove a note, you can just click on it with the delete option. There's the mute option, so say if you drew in a note, but you didn't want to erase it completely, you can just mute it by clicking on it once, and then click on it again to unmute it. And then there's also the slice option. Say you want to make your notes much smaller, you can just click on that, and you can slice it in half or in quarters. Doesn't really matter. You can make it very small, and say there's also the select option, so you can highlight all your notes, and then you can click on the draw option, so you can move it wherever you want on the grid. There's also the zoom in option, where you can click on it and it zooms into your notes and makes them larger on the grid. You can make the grid smaller, bigger, and then there's also the playback option, so you can just click on it and play back the notes that you just drew. And I will just erase these. Okay, so you have many different elements. There's kick, clap, hi-hat, snare, and then your music element. On kick, this is basically just your bass drum. You can draw in as many notes as you want to. Instead of having to draw each one individually, you can just click on the paint option, and you can paint in a ton of them, like so. I'll just do it for about 4 measures. And then there's also the clap option. So you can just draw in a note, and it makes it sound just like a person clapping. You can make it shorter by clicking on the end of it and making it shorter. There's the hi-hat element, which sounds just like a hi-hat cymbal being tapped by a drumstick. And then there's a snare drum, and you can put that wherever you want to. And then finally, there is your music element. Now, the music element can sound like anything that you want to. If you want to make it sound like something specific, you want to find your generators. So whenever you open up FL Studio for the first time, there's going to be a thing on the left that says plug in presets. Click on that one time, and then there should be a thing beneath it that says generators. Click on generators, and there's a bunch of different lists of generators. I usually just find a random one and just drag it on. So to make it sound cool, you select one of the sounds and just drag it onto the grid, and it makes the note sound like that sound. I like using FL Slayer sounds, and mostly I like using Wasp XT. That has a lot of cool different sounds that are pretty familiar. Um, I, I like making music with Wasp XT. There are tons of options. My favorite probably is Big 80s. It's a cool sound. So with the different elements, whenever you play them all together, each element is played at the same time, so it creates a song like that. And maybe I'll just add a few more on this thing. Right now, it's probably going to sound terrible because I just drew in a bunch of random notes. You can make the grid smaller by clicking on that button, or make it larger by clicking on the larger button version of that. If you notice on the grid, there is a piano. So the higher you draw a note on the grid, the higher in pitch it's going to be, and the lower the pitch. And that applies to all of the elements whenever you're making a note. Yeah, pretty much just like that. One time I screwed it up by pressing this right here, and that doesn't allow you to play your song anymore. So remember to make sure that you click on that and make sure that's always lighted up or litten up or whatever so that it will be heard. So if you want to save your song, go up to File, Save As, and then you want to name it whatever you want to. I'll just name it Song. And be sure to save it as an MP3 file. Otherwise, it'll save it as a project. I'll save it in my documents, and then just click Save. And then click Start, and it renders your song, basically. It doesn't really take that long to render your song. And you can just close that, and you can close FL Studio. If you have the demo version, this will always pop up every time you close it. Just ignore it. And then you can go into My Documents, and then here's your song right here. So you can just go ahead and open it up, and it plays your song. And that's pretty much all you have to do. FL Studio is available in the demo version, which is completely free, and it's great software. If you have any questions, leave me a comment or send me a message. Thanks.